Have you ever wondered what justice looks like when it meets compassion? Step inside the courtroom of Judge Frank Caprio, a man whose name has become a symbol of fairness, kindness, and humanity in the face of the law. To many, he isn't just a judge. He's a teacher, a voice of reason, and at times, even a gentle comedian who knows how to ease the weight of a courtroom with a smile. On this particular day, a young woman named Tiffany Russell stood nervously before the bench. Her car had been booted, and the record showed a long list of violations. 6 red light tickets and 2 speeding citations. 8 in total. It sounded heavy, almost hopeless. But Judge Caprio doesn't see a list of violations. He sees people, their circumstances, and the stories behind each mistake. "Good afternoon, Tiffany," he began, his voice steady but warm. "Good afternoon," Tiffany replied softly. The judge laid out the situation. 8 offenses, scattered all across the city. The service road to Route 95, Doyle Avenue, Westminster Street, Roger Williams Avenue, the list went on. Her record, as the judge described it, covered nearly the whole map of Providence. At that moment, Judge Caprio asked her if she wanted to say anything about the tickets. Tiffany hesitated and then admitted, "They were probably me. Well, maybe some of them. Some could have been my husband." And right then, her husband, standing beside her, nodded in agreement. "Pretty much it was me. She doesn't drive crazy. So I'm pretty sure it was me." The courtroom chuckled. Judge Caprio leaned forward with a little smile. This was the side of justice that many don't expect. Not cold or intimidating, but human, approachable. He asked Tiffany again, "So, it's your car, but your husband was driving?" She nodded. "Yes, sir. That was important." The car was registered in Tiffany's name, so every ticket had landed on her shoulders. But it was clear her husband had been behind the wheel for many of these violations. Judge Caprio decided to take a closer look. He called for the first piece of evidence, the video of a red light camera. On the screen, the car was shown approaching an intersection. The light was red. "What do you think?" the judge asked. Her husband shifted uncomfortably. "I tried to make the light," he admitted. Judge Caprio tilted his head, his eyes kind but direct. "Tried? Did you make it?" "No, sir," the husband confessed. The judge nodded. "Then you're guilty." Everyone laughed softly, including Tiffany. But Judge Caprio wasn't done. He explained something important. "I treat everyone as if they were here with an experienced lawyer. I give everyone the benefit of the doubt. So I'll ask your wife again. Is he guilty?" Tiffany smiled. "Yes, he's guilty." The judge spread his hands wide. "Well, there you have it. A unanimous decision. Guilty by both his own admission and his wife's testimony. There's no way around that one." But then, in his careful way, Judge Caprio drew attention to the technical details of the case. On the screen, the video showed the car entering the intersection just 0.21 seconds after the light turned red. The law, however, allowed for 0.20 seconds. That sliver of time, 1/10 of a second, meant the violation technically shouldn't have been charged. "This one," the judge declared, "is dismissed." The room filled with surprise. Even Tiffany's husband raised his eyebrows. Judge Caprio smiled again and turned to Tiffany. "Is he guilty?" "Not guilty, sir," she said firmly. "Not guilty," the judge announced, repeating it with theatrical emphasis. "Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. Only this one, though." The courtroom broke into laughter. And yet, Judge Caprio's tone shifted for a moment. He reminded them and everyone listening that running red lights is no small matter. "It's very dangerous," he explained. "People are crossing the street. Other cars are coming. Many have been injured, and some have even been killed at these intersections. So don't look at this as permission to take chances. Next time, hit the brake." His words carried weight. They weren't just about the law, they were about life. The judge moved on to the next violation. Another red light. Another video. This time, Tiffany was asked again if her husband was guilty. She hesitated only a second, then answered, "Yes. In this case, yes." Her husband nodded. "Yes, I'm guilty." Judge Caprio leaned back. Well, at least you're honest. And you're right. Except, and I'm not doing you any special favors, I have routinely given motorists the benefit of the doubt if they were only 1/10 of a second late. That's fairness. And I'll do the same for you. The husband exhaled with relief. One by one, the judge went through the remaining tickets. At each step, he explained the timing, the rules, and the reasoning behind his decisions. Some violations remained, but others were dismissed because of those tiny fractions of a second. At one point, the judge looked over the record and said with a laugh, I've been on the bench for many years, and this is the first time I've ever seen this happen. Tiffany and her husband laughed along. Even they were surprised at their streak of near misses. But luck only goes so far. Finally, one violation was too clear to ignore. The car had entered the intersection a full 0.6 seconds after the light turned red. This one, the judge said firmly, is absolutely guilty. By the end, Judge Caprio totaled the cost. It's $185 in fines, plus a $100 boot fee, for a total of $285. Tiffany and her husband accepted the judgment gratefully. Could have been so much worse. But Judge Caprio had one more lesson to give. He turned to Tiffany and asked, Do you ever drive with him when he's behind the wheel? She laughed. Yes, all the time. Well then, the judge said with a grin, we're going to hold you responsible next time. You'll be in the passenger seat saying, Slow down. Stop. Slow down. If you don't, you'll be in divorce court before you know it. The courtroom erupted in laughter. Even Tiffany admitted with a smile, that's a possibility already. And just like that, what began as a stressful day for Tiffany ended with relief, laughter, and a life lesson. Because that's what Judge Frank Caprio brings to every case. Not just rulings, not just fines, but fairness, compassion, and wisdom. He doesn't just judge the law, he teaches people about life. He reminds us all that justice isn't about punishment alone. It's about understanding, mercy, and second chances. And in that courtroom, every person, whether guilty or not, walks away with something more valuable than money. The feeling that they were heard, respected, and treated with dignity. That is the legacy of Judge Frank Caprio, a judge with a heart, who shows us that even in the smallest moments, humanity matters most.